Hi, this is Samantha with the Walk Down Memory Lanes video tutorial series. Today I'm going to show you how to take metal sheets and turn them into copper leaves. I like to use the metal sheets from Quick Cuts. They're 4x12 and they're adhesive backed. This peels off and they're nice and sticky, so you don't have to go searching for adhesive afterwards. To do these, you'll also need a leaf die set. I'm using the Lifestyle Crafts nesting leaves. Get a lot in here. You can use any of the sizes. They go from fairly small to quite large. I'm going to use a nice medium size today for you. You can see out of just one sheet of this, you can make a lot of leaves. You can use any manual die cutter for this. I just happen to own a Big Shot. You'll make your sandwich no matter what system you're using. You'll make it like you would normally use one of these wafer thin dies. And you'll just cut your leaf. This set from Lifestyles is a fairly basic leaf, and when I made mine, I decided that I wanted a little bit more texture to mine. Forgive me, I'm going to move stuff around here a bit now. And so I just flipped this leaf over. And if you own a stylus, it would be great for use at this point. I don't own one, so I took a mechanical pencil. I just made sure that there's no pencil part sticking out. And then I took my We Are Memory Keepers piercing mat from the So Easy tool. Any foam mat would be good, just gives you a little cushion to work with. And I just drew on the lines I wanted in my leaf. So if you want any extra veining or anything to your leaf, you just flip it upside down and draw. Doesn't need to be perfect by any means. And when you flip it over, then you'll have extra ridges on your leaf if you'd like that. You can skip that step. It's just a nice way to dress up a die if you decide you want a little extra to it. Now this is the fun part, making it look copper and aged. I have a few Tim Holtz tools here. First is this mat, and I always forget the name of it, so check for the name of it at the end of the video today. I'll have a supply list. This is made by Essentials. It's really, really nice for when you're working with something like alcohol inks. If you spill, this wipes up really nicely and it keeps your work area clean. Also takes well to heat guns and things like that, so it's just a nice all-purpose work area. You'll need a blending tool. And because we're working with alcohol inks, we need the felt pads for your blending tool. If you're using regular inks and things like that, there's a foam style. Make sure you use the felt and not the foam. As you can see, mine are a little bit used. I'm going to use the ones I tried this out with. You just Velcro them on. I'm going to start with the copper today, and then I also have to add a little extra antiquing color. The Willow alcohol ink and raisins. A little bit of green, a little bit of kind of a purple color. I also have my alcohol blending solution. You can use it to lighten and kind of move around and work with your inks. I am by no means an expert at this. I just sort of went with what worked. I found that this mixed a bit with the copper works really well because this copper is a bit thicker because it's metallic. And this one you have to give a good shake to. And you can hear that going in there. Kind of like when you shake up nail polish. There's a little ball in there. And you get it good and mixed up. And there's two different ways to do this. Do what works best for you, what you find works best. You can add it directly to your pad, or you can add it to your mat here if you're working on a mat like this and pick it up from there. Again, I have found that this was just a bit dry to work with. So I added a bit of the alcohol solution to thin it out. And to get some texture, I just sort of brushed on, dabbed on. And because I want my leaf to look mostly copper, I don't want much of that silver peeking out, I give it a nice full coat. When you're done with that, you can pull this off. Now this one I'll toss, it's pretty well saturated, and you get a ton of these in a stack, like in one little container. So I will toss that out now because I'm sort of done making leaves. Then I'm gonna move on to adding some purple and green color to it. I'm gonna, a little more light there. Again, there's two ways to do this. Some people like to add this to their mat and kind of swirl it around with a little bit of the alcohol blending solution. I found that for this project, it just worked better for me. Sorry, I'm gonna put my cap back on that one so it doesn't dry out. It worked better for me to just apply it directly to my mat in a few places. And I'm going to do the same thing with the raisin. And I'm just going to do a few dots here and there. I found from trial and error that the raisin shows up a little bit better than the willow does, so I added just a little more willow and a little less raisin because I know it's going to stand out more. And again, I want kind of a splotchy look, so I'm just pressing straight down. If you want it to be more mixed, then just give it a swirl on your leaf. If you get this all over your hands, a neat little trick I found, this alcohol ink is fairly permanent, so it doesn't wash off your hands very well with soap and water. Take some sunblock, the creamy style sunblock, and rub it on your hands or your fingers, wherever you got that alcohol ink. And it's kind of a nice way to get it off without having to use anything harsher like fingernail polish remover. And now that that's dry, I'll hold it up a little bit. And you have your copper leaf with a little bit of green and purple. Perfect for fall layouts. And at the end of this, I will show you a couple of those as well. Thanks for tuning in today.